Cynthia hides a secret life in the bustling streets of Abuja. While her husband drowns in hopelessness, she risks everything to keep their family afloat. Every meal she delivers carries both love and a dangerous lie. But when her husband stumbles upon a truth she never wanted revealed, their marriage hangs in the balance. Just when it feels like everything will collapse, a single email changes everything in the most unexpected way. What happens next will test love, pride, and survival in ways they never imagined. Cynthia stood at the window of her small apartment in Maitama, staring at her husband, Joseph, slouched on the couch. His eyes were empty, glued to the ceiling, his once sharp business suits now folded away in a dusty wardrobe. Just 6 months ago, he was a proud bank manager. Now, after being laid off, he barely left the house. Every day, he sank deeper into silence, refusing calls from friends, avoiding neighbors. Cynthia swallowed hard. She wanted to shake him, to remind him of who he was, but instead she tied her headscarf tighter and whispered to herself, "If he can't carry us now, then I must." The thought scared her, but it also gave her a strange kind of strength. Because hidden in her kitchen was a secret. She started small. 1 pot of jollof rice, 2 plates of egusi soup, a simple delivery to her neighbor's cousin's office. She told Joseph she was just visiting her aunt. But in reality, she was slipping out every afternoon with steaming food packed in neat takeaway bowls, her hands trembling as she carried them into the shiny glass buildings of Maitama. The first day, she earned 10,000 naira in cash, neatly folded into her purse. 10,000, more than Joseph had touched in weeks. She came home and cooked dinner as if nothing had happened, smiling at him while hiding the oil stains on her wrapper. But the danger of discovery lingered in every corner. At night, Joseph would sometimes ask softly, "Cynthia, how do we still have food in this house?" His voice cracked, the shame in it slicing her heart. She would look down and say, "God provides." But inside, her chest burned with guilt. She wanted to tell him the truth. She wanted him to know she wasn't betraying him. She was fighting for them. Still, she stayed silent, because the truth might crush what little dignity he still had. The orders grew. Secretly, she built a WhatsApp list of office workers, nurses, and even lawyers who craved her food. They sent her texts like, "Cynthia, 2 wraps of EBA and okra soup, please." Or, "Your jollof is fire. Bring 4 plates tomorrow." Her phone buzzed constantly. She would silence it whenever Joseph was around, pretending it was spam. She cooked with fire in her eyes, her hands moving fast, her face dripping with sweat. She was no longer just a housewife. She was a hustler. But her fear also grew. What if someone recognized her in the streets? What if Joseph found out? One Thursday morning, she carried a food flask into an office lobby in Maitama, her heart pounding. The security guard eyed her and asked, "Madam, who are you here to see?" Before she could answer, a man in a suit walked past and called out, "Ah, is that the woman who brings the rice? Please follow me." The words stung. The woman who brings the rice. Cynthia smiled politely, but inside, she felt torn. She was proud of her growing reputation. But what if Joseph ever heard those same words from someone else's mouth? Meanwhile, Joseph was unraveling. He stayed in bed late into the afternoon. His friends stopped calling. One evening, Kemi walked in to find him staring at an old photo of himself shaking hands with his former boss. His eyes were wet. "Cynthia," he whispered, "I'm nothing now." Her chest tightened. She wanted to scream, "You're still everything. Just hold on." But instead, she knelt beside him and said softly, "You're still my husband. And that's enough." But she knew it wasn't. Not for him. Not for their future. The hustle grew dangerous. One night, as she washed her pots, she noticed Joseph standing silently by the doorway. His eyes drifted to the extra bags of rice stacked in the corner, the crates of plastic spoons, the bowls. "Cynthia," his voice was low. "What's going on here?" Her heart froze. Should she lie? Should she confess? She forced a smile. Just keeping food in bulk. You know prices are going up. He stared at her for a long moment. Then he nodded, slowly, but she saw the suspicion in his eyes. Days later, her secret nearly collapsed. She was delivering food at a hospital canteen when one of Joseph's old colleagues spotted her. "Cynthia, what are you doing here? Don't tell me you're—" She cut him off quickly, laughing nervously. Just helping my aunt for a while." But she could see the curiosity in his eyes. She rushed away, her hands trembling as she texted her customers to cancel tomorrow's orders. For the first time, she felt shame flood her hustle. That night, she couldn't sleep. She tossed beside Joseph, her mind racing. What if word reached him? Would he feel betrayed? Or worse, would he despise her for doing what he couldn't? By dawn, she made a decision. She would stop. She would give up her secret hustle before it destroyed her marriage. But fate had other plans. The very next morning, an email landed in Joseph's inbox. It was from a multinational company in Abuja. They had reviewed his old CV, forwarded by a former colleague. He had been shortlisted for an interview, one that could change everything. Joseph stared at the screen for a long time, his hands shaking. Then, for the first time in months, his eyes lit up with a spark of hope. "Cynthia," he whispered, his voice breaking. "Maybe my life isn't over." She rushed to him, her throat tight, her heart pounding with both relief and fear. But the interview was in 3 days, and Joseph had lost all confidence. He hadn't worn a suit in months. His once booming voice was now quiet. Cynthia knew what she had to do. She poured every naira she had saved from her secret hustle into preparing him. She took his suits to the dry cleaners. She bought him new shoes. She sat with him every night, rehearsing possible questions, pushing him to believe in himself again. "Joseph, you're not finished. You're not weak. You're my husband, and you are capable." Her voice was steady, even as her heart ached with the weight of her unspoken truth. The day of the interview came. Joseph looked sharp again, his back straight, his eyes alert. He turned to Cynthia before leaving and said, "Thank you. I don't know how you've kept us alive, but thank you." Her lips trembled, but she only smiled and adjusted his tie. "Go. Show them who you are." Hours later, he returned, his face unreadable. Then he broke into a smile. "Cynthia, I think I got it." Her body shook with relief. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She wanted to tell him everything, that it was her hidden hustle that carried them here. But before she could speak, he pulled her into his arms. "You never gave up on me, even when I gave up on myself. You saved me." Her secret burned inside her chest. In that moment, Cynthia realized something. Her hustle wasn't about betrayal. It was about survival. It was about love. Maybe one day she would tell him the truth. Maybe one day he would understand. But for now, she chose silence. Because sometimes the deepest sacrifices are the ones that remain hidden. And so, the story of Cynthia's hidden hustle remained untold to the world. But in every pot of soup she cooked, in every naira she quietly saved, she carried a truth larger than shame. That when life falls apart, love must learn to fight in secret. And so, in the heart of Abuja, Cynthia's hidden hustle became the bridge between despair and survival, yet also carried the weight of secrets that could shatter trust forever. Her courage fed her family, but her silence nearly broke it. Now the question remains, is love enough to survive when pride and sacrifice collide? If this story moved you, don't just scroll away, hit subscribe, share it with someone who needs hope today, and tell us in the comments. What would you have done if you were in Cynthia's shoes?